Cam Schlittler pitched at the AAA level for the first time this season last night, and he was excellent in his AAA debut, delivering 5 innings of 1-run ball. He struck out 8 batters and walked 3 against a St. Paul lineup that has 4 guys who play at the major league level as recently as 2024. While Cam Schlittler is someone who isn't going to be a major leaguer next week or, tomorrow, he is someone who is on the precipice of reaching the big leagues and could get there at some point this second half, whether it's in August, maybe September. He's someone who I think the Yankees are looking to call up at some point this year if an opportunity opens up and if he remains in the organization. He could obviously get traded at this year's trade deadline, and I'm sure he's going to carry some value to organizations that are looking for pitching talent that can help them in the near future. Schlittler is someone who I have talked about a lot in recent weeks because he has made a lot of noise inside the organization, not by being loud or anything, but because he's so good that a lot of people internally are talking about what Schlittler can be, what Schlittler can provide at the major league level, and there's a lot of buzz and hype around a young man who has really, really good stuff and has taken a lot of leaps over the last few years. If you enjoyed today's video, if you like this kind of content, we're going to be covering prospects, big league stuff, all of that and more. It's right here on Fireside Yankees. We are your one-stop shop for Yankees content. If you like that kind of content, like, comment, subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and check out Fireside Yankees on all of your favorite social media platforms, whether that's Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, or, of course, this YouTube page. You can also check out our website, empiresportsmedia.com, for written coverage on all of your favorite New York sports teams. Before we get into everything, though, here's a quick word from our sponsor, OddsJam. If you don't know which props to take and you're looking to bet on tonight's Yankees game or any other sporting event, you need OddsJam. OddsJam is looking to turn the everyday bettor into a profitable bettor. They even the playing field by providing real-time data and comparative tools that allow you to make the best possible bets and get the most value possible. OddsJam is awesome. They provide tons of really valuable data. They help you make really informed decisions, and they're helping you beat Vegas. They're not helping Vegas. Sign up with our code FIRESIDE to get 35% off at checkout. Our referral link will be in the description if you want to check them out. Thank you again to OddsJam for sponsoring today's video, and let's get right into talking about Cam Schlittler. Cam Schlittler has made a ton of progress as a prospect since joining the Yankee organization. He was selected in the 8th round in 2022 out of Northeastern University, and when he made his full season debut in 2023, his fastball was sitting at 90 miles an hour. Schlittler was not someone who threw very hard. His fastball was probably a 30th grade pitch, if we're being honest. I think that was one of the worst four-seam fastballs I've looked at the pro level. It just wasn't a good pitch at all. But since then, he has made massive progressions. Last year, his fastball was sitting around 93, 94 miles an hour. He could throw pretty hard. He had better vertical shape, but it still wasn't what I would consider an average fastball. It was still a below average fastball. And now this year, he is sitting comfortably at 95 miles an hour, has touched 99 miles an hour multiple times, and is getting more right on that fastball than he's ever had before. It's still not elite in terms of vertical movement, but it's right around the league average, and that is something that has been a problem for Schlittler because of the way he spins the baseball. He naturally cuts the ball, so he doesn't get very efficient spin. It makes it very hard for him to generate backspin, but the Yankees have helped him get better at it, and now his fastball is what I would consider a 50 to 55 grade pitch. Last night, this fastball sat at 96.3 miles an hour, and with the extension he gets, it feels more like 97 miles an hour because he's such a tall guy. He releases the ball a lot closer to the plate than most people, and he gets a lot of spin on this pitch as well. This was a fastball, again, that was just bad before. It was a bad pitch. I don't think Schlittler would disagree if you asked him, hey, what do you think about your fastball now compared to before? He'd probably say the same thing. His fastball now is much, much better. He picked up 6 whiffs on 14 swings. That is a 43% whiff rate, and he added 6 more called strikes on that pitch. So a 43% called strike plus whiff rate. That is very, very elite. Again, sat at 96.3, touched 98 miles an hour multiple times throughout the night. He looked brilliant with that four-seam fastball, but his most used pitch was a pitch he really added about a month ago, and that is his new cutter. Now, StatCast tags this pitch as a slider, and in some respects, it plays more like a slider than it does like a cutter, but it is a cutter, and that's what he's labeled it as. If you want to know more about this cutter and know kind of the story behind him developing it, I would suggest you check out an article I've already referred to before from the Trentonian, from Greg Johnson, talking about that new cutter. He sat down and had a one-on-one with Schlittler to discuss that pitch, discuss his progression. It is a really, really good article, and I very much suggest that you guys check it out. It is a very, very good piece. But this cutter has all of the good velocity of a cutter. It actually is thrown a lot harder than a cutter. The average cutter sits about 88, 89 miles an hour. His cutter sits between 91 and 92 miles an hour. He's topped out at 93 last night. His slowest cutter of the night was 89 miles an hour, but the extension he gets on that pitch makes that velocity play up more. So the perceived velocity of the pitch is actually 92, while the average velocity is 91.4 miles an hour. It is a really, really good cutter from a velocity standpoint, and from a movement standpoint. When you think about pitches that have more velocity, they tend to not have more movement. You look at velocity and movement as kind of a seesaw for pitches like sliders, cutters, sweepers, curveballs, where they rely a lot on getting sweep and drop and all those things. You usually have to sacrifice either one or the other to push the other. So when we talk about a cutter that has more velocity, you would think that means it has less movement, but that's not the case. It actually has more vertical drop than the average cutter, and it has more sweep than the average cutter. So it's moving more vertically and horizontally than the league average cutter, while being thrown harder than the league average cutter. That makes this pitch a double plus pitch in my opinion. I believe this is one of the best pitches in his repertoire. Maybe it is the best pitch in his repertoire because of how much he can throw it and the fact that it plays well against lefties and righties. It didn't generate a lot of swings and misses. It had 4 whiffs in 22 swings, but it picked up 6 called strikes, and batters had a 78.1 mile per hour exit velocity on average when they made contact with this pitch. They put 7 balls in play, again, average exit velocity of 78.1 miles an hour, tons of soft contact against that pitch. It's just what that cutter is designed to do. It's designed to generate that soft contact, to be a pitch that he can use and rely on and not have to worry about giving up hits or anything of the sort. He just knows he can attack in the zone with that pitch and get a lot of easy outs, and he did a really good job of that throughout the night. He was attacking aggressively with this pitch. It had a 58% zone percentage, so he was really going after hitters with it, and they weren't doing much with it. It's because, again, sharp movement, really, really sharp movement. Hitters are really going to struggle with that, whether you're a right-handed hitter or a left-handed hitter. His 2 breaking balls have kind of always been his signature pitches. We've always looked at the curveball and the sweeper as the 2 best pitches in his repertoire. And in the curveball, you have a pitch that works really well against left-handed batters, not so well against righties, but really well against lefties, can get swings and misses, can get called strikes, has a ton of movement. It has 11 inches of horizontal movement away from righties and into lefties, and it has negative 8 inches of induced vertical break, which is a lot of induced vertical break. That means it's having a lot of drop. So when we're talking about a pitch that drops a lot and moves laterally a lot, it's a pitch that's going to get a lot of swings and misses, that's going to freeze hitters. For those who don't really like induced vertical break or aren't as familiar with the stat, induced vertical break just removes gravity from the movement. If we want to just talk about movement in total, like downward movement, it gets 51.3 inches of drop, so tons of drop there. It's a curveball that I really like. I've always liked this curveball. I've always viewed it as a plus pitch, and it hasn't really been tweaked much. It has more movement than it did when he first joined the Yankee organization, but it's still that plus signature pitch that he can throw against left-handed batters with tons of spin. His sweeper is the pitch that he used the least last night. Granted, he was facing a lineup that had quite a few notable lefties, and a lot of the big leaguers in that lineup were lefties. You talk about Peyton Ellis, Mickey Gasper's a switch hitter. He is someone who's played at the big league level, so he was sitting left-handed in that game. Edward Julian was a Rookie of the Year contender not too long ago. He's someone who is hitting from the left-handed side as well, so they had a decent amount of quality left-handed hitters hitting in that lineup for them last night, and he had to rely on that sweeper a little bit less as a result, but that sweeper is devastating still. It had a 60% whiff rate. It generates a lot of lateral movement, considering that it doesn't have a lot of drop. It actually has a good amount of ride, and that makes it a very unique pitch. This sweeper is what people refer to as a hand of God slider. It is a way cooler name than the actual pitch itself. It's not like the most broken pitch in baseball, but it does sound pretty freaking cool. It is a very unique slider, though. It's not a slider that you see a lot, and that's what makes it a really good pitch. Abnormality in pitch shape is a good thing. We want pitch shapes that are abnormal, that do not conform to traditional sweepers. Those are good things because that means that batters are not trained to see that pitch. They don't have a lot in the memory bank to go off of. They're going to struggle against that pitch, especially if it's located well. Now, this sweeper has 9 inches of induced vertical break. That is very rare. Over the last 3 years, if you look at pitchers who have thrown at least 100 sweepers, only 2 pitchers have maintained 9 inches or more of induced vertical break, and none of them released from as high of an arm slot as Cam Schlittler has. The other thing that I find interesting is that Schlittler's throwing his sweeper at 86.7 miles an hour, or he was throwing it at 86.7 miles an hour in his last start. This start they're referring to. The average sweeper in Major League Baseball this season, 2025, is thrown at 82.3 miles an hour. So this is a much harder sweeper. Now, doesn't have that signature, 13 to 14 inches of horizontal movement. His sweeper was averaging about 9 inches of horizontal movement last night. But I really, really love that he's got a unique sweeper. Like, I like uniqueness in a pitch, and I'll value that a lot more than, having a traditional sweeper or having a sweeper that, other pitchers in this league have thrown. Hitters have seen sweepers before. Hitters have adjusted to sweepers really, really well. But the question becomes whether he can, go out there and throw that pitch and execute it, and he has been able to. He has a great deal of comfort throwing that sweeper. He naturally moves the ball really well laterally away from righties and into lefties. So this has been a pitch that he has continued to develop, and it has become a really nasty pitch for him. If we wanted to grade all of these pitches, I'd give his slider, or that cutter. StatCast tags it as a slider, but again, he refers to it as a cutter, so I will refer to it as a cutter. That pitch, I'll give it a 65 grade. I think it deserves that grade. I think it's almost a double plus pitch. Maybe it gets to that point where it's a 70 grade. I want to see a little more of it before I give it that tag. Four-seamer, I'm going to give it a 50 to 55. I don't love four-seamers that are released from a high slot that don't have a lot of induced vertical break. Traditionally speaking, those are not high whiff pitches, but he has an abnormal amount of cut on his fastball, and his fastball fits in really well with his repertoire. I'll give it a 50 to 55. I think that's a fair grade, like a roughly average fastball. I think that's what it is. And if you look at Stuff Plus models, it'll say, yeah, pretty average. The curveball, I'll give it a 60 grade. That's consistent with where I've had him at in the last few years. And the sweeper, I'll also give a 60 grade too. So the arsenal's good. Like, we're talking 4 pitches, all of them quality pitches or above average pitches. And you can argue that the cutter could be 70 grade. You could give the sweeper, I might even push for a 65. I might mend myself there and say a 65. He was very aggressive in the zone with all of his pitches. 58% zone percentage last night. The lowest zone percentage on a pitch was his curveball at 45%. I mean, he just did such a good job of attacking the zone. He got a ton of swings and misses. He got a lot of called strikes. I was really impressed with what Cam Schlittler looked like in the AAA level, considering too that the ball is different in AAA than it is in AA. Not in the sense that it carries more or it flies more, but in the sense that it doesn't move the way that the AA ball does. Pitchers have an easier time generating ride on that AA baseball than they do on that Major League Baseball. And in Schlittler's case, I expected the stuff to look way worse. I expected the fastball to look worse. I expected the cutter to look worse. I expected the curveball, the sweeper, all those pitches to just look worse. And they didn't. They looked really, really, really good. This repertoire is going to grade out really well. Like, it just is. This repertoire is going to grade out at a very high level. He's someone whose his command has really taken a leap. I know he walked 3 batters yesterday, and that's not great, but he was attacking the zone aggressively. On the season, his walk rate is not very high. It's not like it's a problem. I think it's around 8 to 9%, which isn't low. It's roughly average. But again, I'll take that. It's an 8.6% walk rate. That's good enough for me, considering he doesn't allow a lot of damage contact and he gets a lot of swings and misses. A 31% strikeout rate on the season, a 22.4% strikeout to walk rate. You look at the season numbers, a 2.33 ERA, a 2.37 FIP. I mean, this guy is an absolute stud out there. Comparing him to other minor league prospects and other big-time pitchers, his strikeout to walk rates are really good. I mean, he's an upper levels minor league pitcher. He's not a high A pitcher or a single A pitcher or someone pitching in the complex league. He is someone pitching against major leaguers. Like, there are some legitimate big leaguers he's going to face. He might face a Roman Anthony. He might face, a Cleveland. You were talking about a Cleveland. He might face, a Minnesota affiliate like he did last night in the St. Paul Saints that has 4 or 5 guys who could be in the big leagues tomorrow. Guys who have already played in the big leagues. Guys who have played the big leagues at a decently high level. He is playing against really, really good competition, and he is thriving. The shapes look brilliant. I want to just pull up some of the underlying data here. His 22.4% strikeout to walk rate. If you look at that 31% strikeout rate among pitchers who have thrown at least 40 more innings, there's 393 of them at the minor league level. He's 32nd. That might not seem elite, but a lot of the guys ahead of them, again, they are not AA, AAA pitchers. A lot of these guys haven't pitched at the AAA level. A lot of these guys are pitching at levels below him. So, I really do value the fact that his competition level, he's pitching against the best pitchers and the best hitters at the minor league level. He just is. And he's doing really well. His FIP, 2.37, that's the 10th best among pitchers with at least 40 or more innings pitched. His ERA is really good, 2.33. It's right around that FIP. The expected FIP, his expected FIP is 2.71. It's actually the lowest in the Yankee organization. It's 14th in all of minor league baseball. And there's no pitcher who is in the top 15 who has made a single start at the AAA level. So this guy is just on a different level right now. He's pitching at a really high level, and the BABIP against, it's 341. I looked at guys with a 341 BABIP or higher. He's 47th in terms of highest BABIPs. Again, that's not the highest BABIP in baseball, but he's still getting relatively unlucky. He got very unlucky at the AA level relative to the quality of contact he was allowing. I'm just really, really impressed with where Schlittler's at. I think fans should be very excited with where he's at. I think that Schlittler has, number 3 starter upside and maybe number 2 or number 1. Like he looks really good. I mean, the stuff is abnormal. I don't know a lot of pitchers who are starters and have his slider. I don't know a lot of pitchers who have that cutter shape. I don't know a lot of pitchers who have both those pitches in the repertoire. So he's someone who's going to kind of break a little bit of what hitters are traditionally seeing. And I'm really excited to see where he's at. Another really cool stat here, last night he allowed his 2nd home run of the season. He's only allowed 2 home runs this year. I mean, that's ridiculous. So really, really happy about that. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, though. I hope this was an informative video for you guys. I hope this prospect breakdown helped you guys kind of understand a little bit more why the hype train's here with Cam Schlittler, why I've really dialed up those conversations. I've made sure to talk about him extensively on this channel, not because, hey, he's some guy that you need to know about because he's going to be ready in 3 years, but because you might see him in the Bronx this year, and because he might play a big role in what the Yankees do at the deadline, because he might be a chip that teams start calling on. So I think it's important for fans to know the prospects who are going to help them this year. It's important that they know who those guys are. They know what they bring to the table, but you also get a realistic perspective on it. I'm not sitting here saying Cam Schlittler is going to be an ace. Oh my God, Cy Youngs. No, I mean, I think that there's a number 3 starter profile here. Again, there's the upside to be a frontline starter for sure. There's a lot of things to like about Schlittler, but we want to keep it realistic, of course. And, the flaws in his game, still don't love the fastball. Think it's average. Think the velocity is going to make people like it more than they should. I think the command still needs work. Like he needs to get a little bit better, just a little bit better. Sometimes he just throws too many pitches in starts. You watch him pitch and you're like, dude, you're up 0-2, just go after this guy. But those are little things. Those are things that you can work on. Those are things that you can improve upon. These are not things that I'm like, oh, this is, nope, off my board. Take him off my board. This is, I believe in him. I think the guy's stuff is brilliant. I think that the things he struggles with are things that I don't mind the pitcher struggling with. I'm not worried about those struggles. So, yeah, that wraps up this video, though. Appreciate you guys sticking through and hearing me talking about this stuff. If you enjoy this video, if you enjoy these prospect reports, if you enjoy these breakdowns, let us know in the comment section below. I said I was going to do a top 10 in yesterday's video, but I'm scrapping that. I'm doing a top 30 update. That'll come tomorrow. That'll replace our prospect report for tomorrow. So you're going to get some really fun content tomorrow. I'm really excited to do it. I'm going to be working on it all day. I've been working on it for quite a bit. Been kind of juggling through it. The big one is the one that we're going to do at the deadline. I'm actually going to bring in some collaboration for that. You're going to see some really smart people get involved there. And yeah, we really appreciate what you guys have done for us with the support. And we hope you guys stick around, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace out, everybody. Let's go Yankees. Have a great rest of your day.
Perfect.